the truth is now that it was fortunate that I found that piece, because I feel like I would have forgotten to retighten my axle and my adjusting nuts. The universe is looking out for me today. We're out here with the CB125F. Today the intention is to upgrade the standard 420 sprocket and chains. I've got a JT Sprockets 428, the 4223er, and a 428 14 tooth front and a 428 chain. Now I didn't start recording to begin with because I've already tried this once before and had hell getting that axle out. But looking at the state of this, I mean, I greased that up last time I put it in, and well, the first couple of times I had this wheel off, I could just yank it out by hand, but I had to hammer it out today. Okay, now, it's a handy trick with the logs or the planks. Now keep a hand on the hubs. So I get a foot under there and I can jimmy the height. Okay. So prior to putting this whole thing back together, I'll have to sand that and grease it up again. Now this 420 chain does not have a master link, and I do have a chain breaker, but I thought probably the best way is to maybe undo this and try and slip the chain up over that, which first cab off the rank is getting that front sprocket off. I know the GoPro's got a fairly good viewing angle, but I'm not going to apologise if you can't see shit, because I just wanted to get this done. Now I do actually have an OEM chain and rear sprocket. Front sprocket I need to go and pick up because I ordered the JT spares before. Like, I've been waiting a couple of months for that front sprocket to come in. So the stock OEM chain, the replacement, doesn't have a link either. So regardless of what I chose, I would have to figure out a way to get it past here. Now this swing arm bolt goes right through the chassis, and I would rather not bring it out that way. However, we'll just keep on pulling parts off here till we get something loose. Ouch, god damn it. Okay, let's just pop that pin out. Okay, all right. So just by popping off the body pins on the bottom, I reckon I can get a sprocket in there. It looks like a 12. I always like to thread my bolts back into their little homes because it's the best way to not lose them. Not a terribly long bolt, that one. I don't have much, but I reckon I've got just enough wiggle in here to get the chain out. just I might have two problems. I would have to do this regardless, but what a fucking nuisance. Right, if I can, there we go. All right, now, presumably, now that I pulled that, I don't know, that's just for the brace for the footrests. I just push that down out of the way. It should be easy enough to put back. I just have to undo this swing arm. That's a 14 surely. Well, I needed a 14. Incidentally, that's the spark plug socket for the KTM. So if you don't mind, ta-da! All right. Just thread that in loosely. The hard part now is going to be cracking that sprocket off. Every fucking time. Not for nothing, but that's harder than it looks. The difficulty in getting sprockets for this bike is the inside diameter, because it has got to fit over these tabs here. Alrighty, so the JT logo facing out. All four tabs are sitting in there nicely. Let's just try and get a visual here. So one tooth up on the rear. Hopefully the camera can see just the marginal difference the sprocket is. The hope is we're going to get more torque out of it to help on the hills without offsetting the speedometer too much. Right. One. Two. Three. Four. And all right. Make sure the cush drive is looking good. What I might do, I'm going to go in and get some grease. We just got some old, well, it's not old, it's perfectly fine, but probably the best way I can think of to grease this thing. JT Sprockets 14 tooth. Now I do have a 13 tooth I'd like to try, but I'm going to do it in stages. First we'll fit the 42 tooth rear and keep the front stock. Okay, that can go. Writing to the outside, of course. This doesn't fit, man, I'll be pissed. I emailed them about this. Yeah. Like a motherfucking glove. Now, where were we at with the chain? Out with the old and in with the new. Hup. Nom 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 nom. There's our master link. This is science. All right. So it appears the chain I have, the 428, is a few links too long, remembering that this chain's already snapped. So, God, this takes me back to motorised bicycle days. All right, so plus the master, I'm going to have to take out possibly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 links. Now, because this is a broken chain, I don't need to thread anything back through. So what I can do is go around and make sure all this shit's done up again. Okie dokie. Not difficult at all to line up. I'm not looking forward to this part. Okay. You'll notice I'm being ever so gentle here. There was a decent amount of rust and corrosion. I'm using no pressure whatsoever on here. Trying to get rid of all the surface crap. There is some pitting along here. Okay, so spacer. I was just looking at it. Here it is. Maybe you want to go in this way. Yes. So the trick here is lining all these holes up perfectly, which that's why I use the timber. So now that it's poking out the other side, I hope the GoPro can even see. Oops. See how it's just sticking out? That's where our second spacer comes in. But before we do that, hello dickhead, we've got to put these back in. But that was good practice. Right, here's the fun part. This is where being able to manipulate the wheel comes in handy. Got it. I honestly believe that was the hard part. Obviously I'm going to have to tighten these all down and make sure everything's aligned. But for now, oops. I did all that without adjusting the free play on the rear brake, but we'll double check it once we're done. Because obviously the wheel's going to move and it's going to adjust the position of that lever. Okie dokie. I can tighten that up properly once we're ready. Okay, so in order to get the most life out of this chain, I'm going to have to adjust these as evenly as possible. And that's why over there I've got my calipers. So I just want to measure the distance between them all. Oh my god, I'm dripping with sweat and it's not even summertime anymore. There's no real science here. I wanted a baseline in order to maintain wheel alignment. Hey. Okay. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 links. Alright, so my estimation was about right. It's about 6 links I have to remove. But I also want to move these. Now on here you've got these adjusting lines, so I need to make sure that only a certain number of lines are visible here when I push it forward. This is as hard and awkward as it looks. Come to think of it, 14,000 kilometres. Right. So basically I've pushed these as far forward as they can go. There is still slack in here, slack in here. We'll just do these up finger tight for now because I can make a further adjustment later. So I need to remove one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 links. So the same. You know what? It's been a hot minute since I've used a chain breaker. The hardest part of any chain breaker tool is getting that pin lined up. Alright, we're gonna move this up to the table. Feels good. Feels really good. Alright, uh-oh, lost the pin. Ta-da! Right. Now, this is fiddly and my knees are cramping. Got it. Now all I have to do is tighten the chain. Otherwise, we're pretty much done. I need to go inside and get my tape measure now. But the hard part's over. There's currently 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 mil of play. So we need to take exactly half of that out. first thing I'm doing is I've pulled the wheel back. And I'm just winding these in just to the point where these plates stop falling out. I'm going to measure here to make sure that they're not more than about 1 mil out on either side. Okay, that's about 14 mil. Yep. Pretty happy that I managed to keep that even simply by eyeballing it. Now what I'll do, I need to loosen this locking nut. Now we are making adjustments for reels. That. There's still plenty in. I'll try and put it there. Half a turn in, and on this side it goes quarter turn, quarter turn. That feels good actually. We have 10, 25. 25 mil is right in spec. $10, $25, $35. But the handbook specification is 25 to 35 mil. I think it's even 20 to 35 mil, but whatever. Before I get excited and buckle everything up, I'd better go and get my chain lube. I mean, I'm not going to worry about the chain cleaner because, well, actually I will. I've got a lot of grass in there. We'll treat it like a proper chain service. Nope. There it is. We'll start from the master link. Now I can start to put everything back together. Oh no. Well, this is the plug for the rear wheel. On the plus side, it's not going to be very difficult to fix, but I'm annoyed at myself for not picking up on it. Look, of all the things that I could have forgotten, that's probably not the worst of them, but the truth is now that it was fortunate that I found that piece, because I feel like I would have forgotten to retighten my axle and my adjusting nuts. The universe is looking out for me today. Alright, tight enough. Okay, good riddance. Back to the drawing board. I think the only thing to do now is to get cleaned up, charge the GoPro, get geared up and go for a ride. So I'm going to stick my phone on the quad lock and use my GPS app because I'm curious to see how far out the speedo is now, but also the trip meter. Now I know going around the block from the top of the driveway back to the same spot is almost exactly 800 meters. So we'll reset the trip. We'll measure that ride first and we'll see how close to 800 meters it is. And then, you know, the GPS will tell me whether or not I'm doing 50 Ks or whatever, and the speedo will tell me how far out it goes, and it'll just take a bit of adjusting to see how accurate that is. But I want the GoPro on because I can also use the GPS and the GoPro's telemetry to compare the pair.